Hey everybody, this is Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and this morning I wanted to show you a really good example of a breakdown trade and how I take them either as breakouts or breakdowns. I find that this method works pretty well for me, and I'll show you and then you can be the judge for yourself. Okay, so what you're looking at is the NQ for yesterday, Wednesday, August 31st. And yesterday morning we were pretty range bound, so it was a morning to take basically divergence trades off resistance is mainly what we took. I did take a couple slinkies earlier in the day, but there weren't a whole lot of them because we were pretty sideways. So, you know, in a range you can sell resistance and buy support, and I always look for divergence when taking those. So that's basically what we had yesterday morning. But what I was waiting for, and I'll show you here, is I was waiting to take a breakdown, and it never happened until after our morning session in the chat room. So I could have looked to take a breakdown once we broke the swing low here or here, and that would have me taking a short into the previous day's low, which is down here at 59.75. I have 60.50 marked because that's a really strong area of support and resistance on the daily chart. So I would have been aware of that area as a possible spot where, you know, we might get stuck. But what I would have been looking for if I didn't take this as a slinky, because this was a valid slinky, and if I took that, I would be aware that I might get stuck down here at 66 at support and then down here at this swing low area. So I would have to decide if there was enough room to want to try that, and especially since we were so sideways. If you didn't take that, you could have taken a breakdown under this area here, but again, that would have been into a pretty strong area of support. So here's how I take breakdowns. So I watch for a failed attempt at an area. So the orange line, like I said, is the previous day's close. So this would be Tuesday's, excuse me, low. This would be Tuesday's low, the orange line. So what I watch for is I watch for it to break and fail. So you can see it breaks through the low from Tuesday and it fails. It retraces right back up. So what I do then is I draw a line under the failed area, right, which would be right here, and then I look to take, in this case, a short under the bar that closes under that, which would be right here. So I do it that way because very often when you take a breakout or a breakdown trade, you're sucked into the trade just to watch it go against you. So the reasoning for this is if people were buying support, right, they would have their stop under this area here, likely. And so the reason I wait for a failed attempt is, let's say, you know, people have their stops under here. So they're buying off support, they put their stop under here, it breaks through and triggers stops, and then very often it will, like I said, fail to break down under that area, retrace, and then finally break down. Now, there are times where price will break support and just keep on going on, you know, the hit of stop runs, for example, but I'll just pass on it. I either get in this way or I don't take the breakdowns, because for myself, I've been, you know, basically sucked into those breakdowns, and you know, then they go nowhere. And you probably have found the same thing. If you put a sell stop a couple ticks under your low here, you get sucked in just to watch it bounce off that, and then, you know, depending on the size of your stop, you're stopped out. So this is the bar that I'd get in under, and then I would look for the next area of support, which would be down here at 52.25. And this is a 4-range chart. That's what I like to trade off of, but you can trade off any size or type chart that you like. And that's it. That's how I like to take my breakouts and breakdowns, and I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email. Have a great day, you guys.